Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich. This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, Gwen Thompkins, host of the radio program Music Inside Out, airing on WWNO radio. So glad to see you.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you.
And she is back, Poppy Tucker, host of the radio show Louisiana Eats, also airing on WWNO radio. Hello, dear.
Hi.
He is back, Greg Lambousy, oh my, director of the New Orleans Jazz Museum, here to discuss current exhibits and an upcoming gala. Hi, Greg. Nice to see you again. Hello. And Alan Smason of Crescent City Jewish News and TheaterCriticism.com. Hello, Mr. Smason. But first up, Poppy.
Well, I know that Turkey Day was yesterday, but we're not done with turkey talk because I think this is so interesting. Tuesday night, December 3rd, at Jewel of the South, they're hosting a wild turkey happy hour. Can you imagine that? It's Paul Gustings, you know, that famous bartender, hosting this wild turkey happy hour with $8 cocktails, 5:30 till 7:30. Of course, the cocktails are all made with wild turkey.
I was going to ask you, so that's...
Yeah, that's the catch. There's wild turkey. So there's wild turkey old-fashioned, a turkey nog, and a clarified milk punch. And they'll have bar snacks, of course, like Parmesan croquettes and green olive tapenade and Murder Point oysters with trotters and horseradish and salted wahoo. That'll make you thirsty for a drink, a little salted wahoo. Now, for burger lovers, also with the turkey in the rearview mirror, Wednesday it's a big day because Shake Shack is finally opening at Canal Place. Now, that's the corner of South Peters and Canal, and this is the second location, but they're calling it their flagship New Orleans store. The other one is out in Metairie. So everybody needs to go try that Shake Shack burger if you haven't made it there. And Danny is so smart. He's out in Metairie. He is making it very local with frozen custard concretes with delicious things he's mixing in, like cookies and pies from Willa Jean and Haydell's. And then also they're serving local brews from Abita, Nola Brewing, Dixie, and Second Line. So it's Shake Shack, but he's making it New Orleans style.
So in Canal Place, you have to walk into Canal Place?
Well, the one with the New Orleans things is something new in Metairie.
Okay.
But in Canal Place, it's in Canal Place.
Okay, great.
And so everybody's got to head over there for lunch. Now, if you're a little thirsty after the Turkey Day, how about a holiday wine tasting? This is at Claret, and it is Thursday night. So we've got big happenings, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, December 5th. $45. This is an incredible deal. It sounds like an Alfie grand tasting. $45, 40 wines to taste, and past hors d'oeuvres. And of course, I love Claret. The space is wonderful.
It really is, especially outside, too.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful day, and everybody will be checking out 40 different wines. Now, next week we're going to get to Réveillon, but my friends at Antoine's Restaurant have just come out with their new winter lunch special. So if people are thinking, where am I going to have that holiday lunch? I haven't planned what we're going to do. What a deal. $20.19, 3 courses at Antoine's. You can start with charbroiled oysters, super salad. Then there's shrimp and grits or grilled sirloin for an entree, or chicken with eggplant dressing and an apricot glaze, delicious. And for dessert, eggnog bread pudding or sweet potato cheesecake, and 25-cent cocktails.
Ooh.
So you can't, at Antoine's, $20 in December. What a deal. Now, everybody wanted to know, when's the last big drag brunch? And so this is the last one of the year. It's going to be a special holiday brunch. It's happening on Saturday, December 14th at Vessel Nola. It's going to be 3 courses, 4 drag queens, starting at 10:30 on December the 14th. Of course, bottomless martinis, but the space is so beautiful. You know, it's the way the restaurant's laid out. It's like you've got 2 big runways for performance space. So I hope everybody will drag in their very best holiday drag and come have a blast with me and my drag queen buddies at Vessel.
And it used to be a church and this sort of the hull of a ship inside too. So it's, yeah, it's really
and
pretty.
It was Christians.
And of course, a long time. It's a redemption too.
It's going to be so much fun. That is another perfect place to plan your holiday party.
In the heart of Mid-City.
Right there.
Thank you,
Peggy.
And Gwen, speaking of the holidays,
absolutely.
so much music.
Well, it's true, and this is a great time of year because nothing's better during the holiday season than the music. I mean, whether you're in your car, whether you're in your house, or at your job, I mean, essentially you put the music on and suddenly it changes your attitude about everything, you know. And for those who like to buy or who like to stream, you know, of course you've got your Vince Guaraldi, you've got your Louis Armstrong, Santa Claus, you've got the Ella Fitzgerald, the Dean Martin, the Andy Williams, the whole shebang. But people, I don't know if everyone realizes just what a contribution Ellis Marsalis has made to Christmas music. He put out in 2011 a terrific album called A New Orleans Carol, and I would really recommend you all to listen to it. It's fantastic. And he's also kicking off the St. Louis Cathedral concert series, holiday concert series this upcoming week. So on Monday, he's going to be appearing at the Cathedral at 6 o'clock. It's open, free to the public, and he's going to be playing Christmas music, which is going to be fantastic, absolutely fantastic. That series is a wonderful series because it continues on Wednesday with the St. Peter Claver Gospel Choir. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're amazing. There's a video on YouTube of them singing Mary Had a Baby that is just extraordinary. On Thursday, Sweet Cecilia, which is a trio of young women from southwestern Louisiana. They've got terrific harmonies, and they're going to be performing also at 6 o'clock at St. Louis Cathedral. Another thing that people are looking forward to, at least I'm looking forward to, during the holiday season is going to be the concert series that's at St. Augustine, you know, and or St. Augustine, as you may say. But,
in Tremay, baby.
In Tremay. Now, this won't start for another week. So that's going to start on December 7th. I think that's a Saturday with Nao Jones Experience, which is going to be terrific. She was at Jazz Fest this year, and she's got an amazing voice. She sometimes sings with NoJo, the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra. And so that's going to be at 4 o'clock. The whole series for the St. Augustine holiday concerts is going to begin at 4. It's going to be a 1-hour concert from 4 to 5, and so we'll have more information about that next week. And lastly, you know, the truth of the matter is, it's the kids' season. Go see some kids play, you know. And again, I'm going to mention Ellis Marsalis, but this is his center, and this is going to be on Tuesday, December 3rd. This is going to be a youth string and jazz ensemble. It's the last concert, I believe, for the children this season. It's at the center, which is in the 9th Ward on Bartholomew Street.
That's in Musicians Village.
In Musicians Village, exactly. 1901, Bartholomew Street. Not that hard to get to, and it's actually very beautiful inside, and the people are lovely, and the children are lovely, and that's going to start at 6 o'clock. If you have any questions about how much it costs, which is usually a very nominal fee, then you go ahead and call the number that's on the screen. It's really great. It's really great.
Yes, Gwen will be back with us next week because there's so much music to talk about.
It's true.
To promote. Thank you. And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Cindy Wilson came up with the names of the 2 universities whose football teams play each other every year on Thanksgiving weekend, and the name of the towns the universities are located in. We are talking about, of course, Southern University, located in Baton Rouge, and Grambling University in the town of Grambling. Now, tonight's question. This tradition of Christmas cake shaped like an item usually found near a fire attire. What is that item? And the French term for the confection? Email your answers to Steppin Out, Poppy's hands going up, at WYES.org. Our prizes, a year's subscription to Louisiana Life magazine. And tonight we have a dish towel with a message, a gobble from our friends at iGobble, and friends from wearablevegetables.com. We also have a pair of complimentary tickets to the New Orleans Jazz Museum's Improvisation Gala, which we're about to hear about. That's Saturday, December 7th. Go to nolajazzmuseum.org for more information on that. And you can go to WYES.org/SteppinOut for our online calendar, including Harry Marone performing with Rebecca Lee and Chris Wecklin. That's at Buffa's on Thursday, and that's from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Go to buffasrestaurant.com, and you can learn more about that. You can also link to WYES's YouTube channel to see our program. Now, Greg, so nice to see you, and sort of the rebirth of the Louisiana State Museum in these past few years, also known as the Mint, but really now known because of that amazing exhibit and that the holdings originally from the New Orleans Jazz Club.
That's right. Yeah, we're fortunate at the Jazz Museum to have this collection. It's really the largest in the world related to New Orleans jazz, and that makes sense that it's here in New Orleans. But instruments, sheet music, recordings, and we've been putting a lot of this on exhibit. And we have a new exhibit on Louis Prima that opened. When was that last for Jazz Fest? Actually,
that is quite the gem. Is it going to be up for a while?
It will be. It'll be up until the end of 2020.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, and so items like the first Grammy ever awarded, and Louis Prima won that one. But we also have, of course, the kind of some standards out there like. Louis Armstrong's the cornet that he learned to play on as a child. One of Fats Domino's pianos, one of Dr. John's pianos, and a new exhibit on drumming, the history of drumming in New Orleans. And of course, a wonderful exhibit that David Cuney, our curator, put together on Professor Longhair.
Oh yes, that bust is so amazing.
It is. Yeah. It's great. But so we have some, have new exhibits coming up in the new year. And we hope folks will come
concerts?
by. We do. We have well over 300 concerts a year in a performance facility on the
So what's coming up in the year? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, just saying that we have some exhibits coming up. One is an exhibit on Noel Rockmore's paintings paired with Emily Reese's paintings, and we're looking forward to that.
Grace's daughter, right?
Yes, yeah. Emily, yeah. And so and Emily's actually going to be, we'll get to this, but painting for our gala too. But,
okay, well speaking of gala, time to do that, and this is what helps pay the bills.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's helping us to expand the museum. We're hoping to start installation of the permanent exhibit in the end of 2020, and so this is going to help do that. But we're going to have a wonderful lineup, starting with Christian McBride and Dee Dee Bridgewater, along with Adonis Rose of the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra, and Detroit Brooks, Shea Pierre. That'll be for the patron party from 7 to 8. Then we'll have 3 stages. Lena Prima is going to perform. It also happens to be Louis Prima's birthday, so she's she's excited about that. And then Trumpet Mafia and Panettes, along with Big Frida, and then Machia Lake and Charmaine Neville in our Improvisations Lounge, and then also the students from Noka and Trombone Shorty Academy, along with Wendell Brunius, Herlin Riley, and Stephanie Jordan.
Man, that's all in one evening?
It is. It is, plus 30 restaurants, so we're excited about that.
Sounds good. And some, sweet potato vodka?
Yes, Beatty's is going to be sponsoring our Martini bar, along with the Improvisations Lounge.
All right, well, good.
And I should say Ruth Chris is doing the patron party.
Ooh, that's going good. Okay, so once again, go to Louisiana State Museum's website for all the info.
Actually, to nolajazzmuseum.org.
All right,
yes.
Very good.
Yes.
All right, good.
At nolajazzmuseum.org/gala.
Sounds good. We love those slashes. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
And now it's time for our Artist Spotlight. Tonight we are featuring the work of Brenda Dell. Her paintings and ink drawings often depict thoroughbred horses and the jockeys who ride them. This is Final Turn at the Fairgrounds. Love this. You see the church right behind it, Holy Rosary. And then we also have Trying to Pass by Brenda Dell. It's a racing scene drawn on a fairgrounds program in pen and ink. Dell goes to the New Orleans Fairgrounds, of course, often to study the horses, takes photographs, and then draws them. Her work is available online at brendadell.com. It's also available by appointment at her studio. That's at 4436 Toulouse Street. That's at Murat. Call or text her at 504-491-0103 or email her too. And don't forget, the New Orleans Fairgrounds Racecourse is now open for the season. Go to the racecourse. It is so much fun. Great food, and just go and see those beautiful athletes. And we're talking about the horses and, of course, the jockeys too. But you can go to their website for the season's calendar. And now, Mr. Allen, you went to NYC recently.
I did. We're going to get to that, but first we got to talk about local.
About that.
That's that the Saenger Theatre finally gave us the announcement we've all been waiting for, given the information by the engineers and the city officials that they may officially open as of December the 11th with the performance of magician and illusionist Criss Angel and his show Raw. Now that means that no more Mahalia Jackson for any of the other shows that were scheduled originally at the Saenger. That includes Christmas Story in December. That's going to be the first time that the Pasek and Paul musical will be in New Orleans. And of course, 2 versions of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker. The first one by the Delta Festival Ballet prior to Christmas, and then right after Christmas, the Moscow Ballet.
I saw that one last year. It was wonderful.
Very nice that they come here every year. I think it's amazing. And of course, Miss Saigon will be in January, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in February, and Jersey Boys coming up in March. Now, if the strains of When the Saints Go Marching In are being heard in schoolrooms across the nation, well, that's because of a new children's book that you can see right here. It's called Welcome to Jazz. It's written by Carolyn Sloan. And I was hoping to get the thing to work for me, but I guess, you know how those things work.
Okay.
But it actually has 12 different interactive pieces that have musical selections, including the clarinet solo, the banjo, the drum set, and of course, even improvisation, scatting, and call and response, which I think is just wonderful. Carolyn wrote the book, which is illustrated by Jessica Gibson, and essentially she came down here to promote the book at 2 of the schools, St. Martin's and Newman, and also at the Louisiana Children's Museum. It's a wonderful opportunity for them, I say them, Carolyn and her husband Stuart Zagna, to have come down. She's married to a New York actor who I'm very friendly with. They took time to enjoy brunch last Sunday at Cafe des Gars, and then to walk to Bayou St. John. Stuart, by the way, was in Newsies on Broadway and was the wizard in the previous national tour that was not cut short of Wicked that played 3 years ago at the Saenger. He also was just in a version of the Flamingo Kid that Scott Frankel penned, which is supposed to be heading to Broadway soon. Now, last Sunday night, I was privileged to see the last performance of Transcripts Part 1, The Women. That was presented by Voices in the Dark under the direction of Tomi Myrick. Paul Lucas, the playwright of the work, which basically he distilled into 7 different characters after interviewing 75 trans women, essentially based it entirely on verbatim conversations he had with those women who had been born as men and had made that emotional journey. Paul was very gracious. He was down here and answered my questions directly, accompanied on stage by the 6 trans women and 1 cisgender woman who was playing basically all of the roles with great reverence and great emotion. This was a night, and I do mean this respectively, of transformative theater. In some cases, this was one of the first times that trans spokespeople were able to go on stage and speak for their community. Here's a shot of the playwright and director Tomi Myrick. Also, she arranged for a proclamation from Mayor LaToya Cantrell and letters of congratulations. And again, in the audience was none other than Michael Cerveris, the 2-time Tony Award winner, who also calls New Orleans home. Michael, I had famously introduced to Tomi as the person who played Tommy on Broadway. And again, I thought that was kind of cute. There was also the stage debut for right here on the right, you see Joanne Guidos, who was famously portrayed by Michael in 9 Lives the Musical. And of course, that's based on the New York Times bestseller by Dan Baum. After the show was over, everybody went and had a great cast party at Cajun's Pub, which is what Joanne owns with her wife, Lisa. Meanwhile, with Thanksgiving now over, it's time to start thinking about holiday shows in the offing. While I am anxiously awaiting a Christmas story, as I mentioned, over at the Saenger, a Christmas Carol at Le Petit, there's also the Ricky Graham show coming up with Varley Jean Merman and Yvette Hargis at Scrooge in Rouge. Now, it opens tonight and, of course, runs all the way through December the 15th. It's now published, by the way, through Samuel French, so it may become a holiday tradition in other cities and towns soon enough. Deal. So keep that in mind. Also, returning this year at Southern Rep is the cast, for the most part, that did it last year. premiere of the musical comedy Mandatory Merriment. That included, of course, Leslie Castay, who panned it with Ian Hawke, who stars in that. This is a shot from the very funny and delightful new work that was taken last year. And by the way, if you look at this, you'll see some of the people who were in that. Almost all of them were returning. Alan Payne played the musical director, and he also played the proprietor of the lounge where everybody's holed up during a New Orleans blizzard. Yes, I did say a New Orleans blizzard. Mandatory Merriment will be opening December the 4th as far as previews, and opening night really December the 9th. We should be reviewing that work, by the way, on Friday the 13th, which should be good luck. And at the beginning of this last month, as you were saying, Peggy, I was lucky to be able to go to several New York theater works, including Moulin Rouge, which is still packing people in, and The Height of the Storm, which just closed this past Sunday. I'd like to go over just a few of the works that I thought were worthy, which are still running on the Great White Way. First off, Derren Brown's Secret. It's more than a magic show, and really the best medalist show I've ever seen. I'm unable to really give away the true secret nature of this amazing production, but he plants little Easter eggs along the way that seem random at first, and at the end of the evening, they're all part of a fantastic put together that you just can't believe. I recommend this very highly, Derren Brown's Secret. Also, Betrayal. Tom Hiddleston, who you may remember from the Avengers movie, he played Loki. He's one of the 3 stars in Harold Pinter's Betrayal. This work, which runs without intermission, is told backwards in time to basically keep your interest, because you know what's basically going to happen. It tells the story of 3 people who are both friends, spouses, and secretive lovers. And while this play was controversial in the 60s when it first came out, with today's social media and people like the Kardashians on TV, the characters are a little bit less interesting than what we have in real life. By far, though, the most compelling and interesting work was Slave Play by Jeremy O. Harris. This is a play that will probably not play in New Orleans anytime too soon. It plays at the Golden Theater on Broadway. At first, one's really not sure what they're seeing. It appears to be a throwback to antebellum times with interracial partners, but then the truth is revealed to be sort of a form of sex therapy. The play explores sexual desire and impotence, and really an unproven and unorthodox method of therapy in order to get the various couples, some straight and some gay, into the mood for lovemaking and sort of making a connection with their partners. The controversial nature of this play cannot be understated enough. It probably means, as I said, it's probably not going to be playing here locally anytime soon. But I must say, the first part of this play had me shaking my head. The second part had me laughing uncontrollably. And the final portion was emotionally disturbing. But what a ride and a great night of theater. And by the way, lastly, those of you who like a traditional musical, there's only a few weeks remaining for Oklahoma, the stripped-down version of the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical playing at the Circle in the Square. This show won the Tony Award for Best Revival, and at intermission, the performances are featuring cornbread and vegan chili as they're served to everybody. They get down to the stage. And by the way, the orchestra's right there on stage throughout the work with the singers. There's also a ballet that is just worthy of mentioning. Agnes DeMille could not have imagined what gymnastic abilities this lady has that she possesses, and is a single lady doing the entire ballet that we all know and love that Agnes DeMille had scripted in 1943. But just a wonderful play, and I would really recommend this as one of the best things you'll see.
All right, Alan, busy bee. Biloxi Archbishop Roger Morin recently passed away. His dedication to the New Orleans area and later Biloxi was legendary, but many will recall that he was in charge of the visit of Pope John Paul II over 30 years ago. Tonight, in his honor, we have compiled his memories of the visit from our documentary, which is called More of New Orleans That Was. And take a look.
The papal visit required more than a year of preparation, involving thousands of volunteers. Asked to coordinate the visit was Monsignor Roger Morin.
I recall the Archbishop saying at one time that he had asked the Holy Father to please, come to New Orleans for a visit, and the Holy Father said to him, "Too hot, too hot."
Lasting memories for many were made that Saturday afternoon. An outdoor mass was planned on the eastern campus of the University of New Orleans. Everyone was prepared for a scorcher. Monsignor Morin was ready. After all, Archbishop Hannon had made a promise to the Pope.
The altar for the papal mass, there were, air conditioners that were built in under the platform so that there would be. So he was true to his promise to the Holy Father that he would air condition it for him.
As it turned out, heat wasn't the problem.
I say it rained and I cried. Yeah. Everything was wet. The people were all wet. but the Mass went on. And it was a marvelous, spiritual experience for all of the people who were there. And I thought, standing off to the side, but relatively close, looking at the Pope, and to get out there and see a couple 100,000 people who had stayed through that rainstorm waiting for the Mass, I just thought that he was deeply touched by this. It was really that scriptural kind of thing, that mountaintop experience, like, Lord, it's so good for us to be here, let's just build 3 tents and stay. Well, people wanted to stay.
The same weekend that the Pope prayed in the Superdome, Tulane and the Saints had home games there. That weekend, Tulane and the Saints won. Any connection to this?
I wouldn't attribute any. If we did, then they'd be coming back for more, and we can't guarantee those results.
Boy, will he be missed. The entire Papal Visit segment is one of the many recent stories in our New Orleans history documentary, More of New Orleans That Was, and it's available at WYES.org. What an amazing gentleman. And now our picks. Gwen.
Well, my pick is going to be this Saturday night. It's coming up very soon, actually. Tank and the Bangas are going to be at Tipitina's 10 o'clock show. Now, as you know, Tank and the Bangas was recently nominated for a Grammy Award for Best New Artist, and the ceremony is not going to be until sometime next year. And so this is the sweet spot. No band will ever be happier, no musician will ever be happier than when they've been nominated for an award and the ceremony has not yet happened. So go to this show if you get a chance. I'm going to try to go myself, and they're going to try to prove to you why they've been nominated for Best New Artist. Tank and the Bangas.
Poppy.
Well, come see me on Sunday at the Historic New Orleans Collection Holiday Art Market. This is the first time they'll be in that fabulous new shop space, and I'll be signing books, and there'll be lots of yummies and merriment and fun. Come see me.
Greg.
Let's see, the Jazz Museum is working with the Arts Council on LunaFest, so Sound Collage is the Jazz Museum version. It's going to be December 5th and 6th from 6 to 8 o'clock. And then, but of course, come to our gala on Saturday the 7th, 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
And for those that missed those ordinary men with extraordinary moves on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade yesterday, or perhaps on the Stephen Colbert Show earlier, there's an opportunity to see them once more before Carnival, that is. The Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra is having their holiday spectacular on Saturday, December the 14th at the Mahalia-Jackson Theater. So go check them out.
All right, thank you. And before we go to my picks, I wanted to show you a picture from last week's St. Catherine's hat. The day parade, it was the hat parade. The theme was hat on a hot tin roof. And this is a creation by Jolie Bonk, who's wearing it beautifully. Just one of the many original hat designs that were adorning heads during the St. Catherine's Day hat parade. And now my picks, a Garden District Christmas concert featuring the U.S. Marine Forces Reserve Band, taking place this Monday at 7 o'clock at Our Lady of Good Counsel Church that's right there on Louisiana Avenue. The band will also be collecting toy donations for their annual Christmas drive at the event. The concert is free and open to the public, too. And WWL TV's Eric Paulson will act as the master of ceremonies. Also on Monday, Richard Campanella will be giving us an illustration and of course, lecture, an illustrated lecture, that is, at 7 p.m. at Tulane University's Freeman Auditorium. The topic of the free event will be Coastal New Orleans, Lost Communities of the Urban Delta, 1820s to the 1920s. For more info on Campanella and his work, visit his wonderful website, richcampanella.com. The Poitras Home Holiday Tree Lighting and Music Festival will take place on Thursday, December the 5th. The patron party takes place from 6 to 8 p.m. inside Poitras Home's historic 1857 hall. At 7 p.m. that same evening, Poitras Home's Magazine Street Gate will open up as patrons and the public are welcome for free. To hear holiday favorites and gospel music, enjoy cocoa and cookies, and to watch the 30-foot-tall tree lighting at 7:30 p.m. Marina Reed is this year's event artist. And Tennessee Williams and New Orleans Literary Festival's Menagerie of Holiday Gift Auction is taking place through December the 7th. It will end at 8 p.m. that night. See a list of amazing items, including lunch with me and Errol Laborde. And to bid online, visit one.bid pal.net/TWFest, or go to the TennesseeWilliams.net. And lots of great items there too. Thank you all so very much, and thank you for watching. Good night.
This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area. Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.